Hey there you guys, welcome back. The backyard video was a little bit long, so I had to split it into two. So let's do the front yard. On the way to the front yard, we're going to have to go through the gate on the far side. We'll go look at the cutting garden, or what I'm calling the cutting garden. It's mostly plumerias. And yeah, I got the couch cover drying out because of the rain last night. So that's blowing in the side here. Very, very nice ambiance. So we'll go look at the front and the sides of the house and see what you think. Anyway, it's all still a work in progress. Again, same thing applies. I am going to go around and do a big weeding, but with new soil, you get a lot of new weeds. So anyway, let's just get to it. Since the last time, I don't think that we had a working gate at the side of the house, at this side of the house. So this is our lovely gate to take us over to the cutting garden. So we got you'll see it at the end there, a water barrel so that I can use the rainwater to water this side. It's hard to get the hose to this side of the garden, and why not use the water that naturally falls? The plants will like it better, and it's cheaper. So we're going to be putting some patio stones here. If you want to see me dig some of these in a video showing you how I'm going to do it, just let me know down below, and I'd be happy to show you what I'm going to do. Right now they're just sitting on top of the grass. I'm just going to sink them down in. Not much to it, but if you want to see it, let me know. So I've got all my little seedling plumerias. I need to bring some fertilizer over here and give them a shot of Ultra Bloom fertilizer. To hopefully get some flowers soon. I haven't seen any blooms. They are 3 or 4 years old. The last few years they haven't been getting the light that they require, and they hadn't been necessarily planted in the ground, so I blame myself for not giving the correct care. But they should be getting close to blooming, at least the big ones. Off to the side I planted a little cucumber, and hopefully it grows up the fence. This area gets sun all afternoon, so it gets a nice hot midday sun. I just need to remember to water this. I have a watering can for over on this side, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be over here watering as often as I need to be. I like being out in the garden. So all of the plumerias, some of them don't have much growth on them right now, but they're still alive. Like this one here, I thought it was dead, but there's new growth starting right on the tip. So, because I don't water them over the winter time, and this summer they came out a lot later, or this season, because the nighttime temperatures were below 10 degrees, and these guys don't like to be below 10 degrees. So even like last night at 11 degrees, these things are going into a little bit of a shock. So they don't like that. So it's going to set them back. Anyway, you can't win. The dahlias are growing really, really strong. Hopefully soon we'll start to see some blooms. This year I was smart enough to put the tomato cages around them while they were tiny, and they will be supported now instead of flopping over and then getting supported afterwards. Well, I'm trying to put them on and break all the branches because I'm foolish. I planted this one, the one outside. Let me get closer. I planted this one. I thought that it was completely dead. The root, the tuber was completely dried up, and it was really light, and it just felt dead. And I planted it in the ground. It came up later, but at least it came up. I wonder which one that is. So excited about that. Just a note to yourself, you might not think that it's alive. Might as well plant it anyway. What's the worst that could happen? It turns into compost. And then another tomato. I forget what this one's called. I should have a tag here somewhere. This one is Indigo Cherry Drops. So it's a type of cherry tomato. It looks like it's going to have a little bit of purple on it. So this one hopefully is a nice one for summertime. And then I planted some garlic right in here. This whole section is garlic. The bulbs were on sale, and I think they were 50% off, so I said, yoink, that is going here. And the tomatoes should appreciate the garlic as well. And I planted a couple of gladiolas in amongst the plumerias. We'll see how they grow. I only planted 5, but it's still going to be some color. The water barrel, another Costco find. So these are Amandavillas. Sorry for the wind. Amandavillas. This is supposed to be pink, and I think that it is. And this is supposed to be white. It looks like it's going to be white, so that's good. And then I've got, it's a hardy type of passion flower, but it's growing really, really slowly. I might plant it in the ground, but I was told by someone that they could get very invasive on the root level, so I am very leery about planting it in the ground. So thank you for that suggestion, Dave, or not suggestion, that warning. Zone 6B, it would probably get a little bit invasive. So here we go. This is the front garden. We put some stepping stones, made the garden a little bit wider. Before it used to round around, but now this whole section here, up until the water bucket, the water container, is going to be part of the front garden. We'll just have stepping stones coming through. I like these stepping stones. They just look like pieces of wood. Walk across here. Our tree, street tree, is not looking so good. It doesn't look terrible, but the poor thing, it looks like it needs a drink, but it's because of too much water. So just be careful when you're diagnosing plants. I was going to give it a drink, and then I kind of dug down in the soil, and probably about 2 inches down, it was sopping wet. So because of our clay soil, it's turned into a bowl of water, and there's not much I can do. I can't drain it, so I'm just going to have to hope for hot, dry weather, and so it dries out, and the ground kind of dissipates of groundwater. So fingers crossed that it's going to do okay. The annuals on the top, those are legitimately needing a little bit of water because the mulch dries out a little bit faster than the clay. So since I haven't been watering the tree, they stay a little bit on the dry side. So I don't really care about the annuals. I want the tree to survive, so I'm not going to water. So here is the front garden. Do a little pan around. Things are changing slowly. I'm getting rid of a bunch of things. Things are moving to the back. That big hosta in the background will probably go to the back eventually. I'm going to do another garden at the other side of the shed, and I think that that's going to go there. It's a sum and substance, so it can deal with some sunlight. So maybe even if I do more gardens in the front, I can move it kind of on its own. The turtle head is growing beautifully. I've got, it's supposed to be heavenly blue morning glory right by the fence, but it's not heavenly blue. There was one that bloomed, and it's purple, so I'm worried that it's one of the more invasive self-seeding varieties. Still manageable. It's not root hardy, but they grow it from seed. So my fall mum is looking nice. That's the last one that I have from a few years ago. With all the chaos and construction, some of the other ones have passed away. Those sticks there are a fall mum as well. Gives me a chance to get some new ones. A boxwood. I got another boxwood here, and then I planted the other boxwood a little bit farther away. I got a little Hinoki false cypress, so that'll be cute in here. I needed some more evergreens, and then there's this. This is the hibiscus, the perennial hibiscus, the summer spice, the pink one. So I'm excited. I trimmed the top out, and I'm trying. Ew, there's a spider right on top. I almost touched him. Do your thing in the garden. Don't bite me. So I trimmed the top out to try to make it a little bit more of a robust plant. I didn't want a single growth point. I wanted it to branch out. So yeah, I trimmed it out, tried to make a cutting. So all the leaves on the cutting have lost its leaves. They've all shriveled up and died. But the main stem is still green, and I've got some little growth points. So if it survives, I'll do a cutting video with you and show you what I did. But I just want to experiment. I don't want to do it and then have it fail and then have it fail for you guys. I moved my painted daisy to the back. It gets tall and unruly, so I'm hoping that being in the corner there it'll stay contained a little bit better. These are daffodils, so they're going to die back very, very soon, and you won't see any of it. And then off here, I bought these yesterday, legitimately yesterday, some little hardy cactus, and I'm hoping that they do well here. They will stay drier here because of the drip line of the house. So I tried to find a sunny, dry spot. I'm going to probably cover them over the winter just as protection, but we'll see if they grow. I was told that they're hardy to the Ottawa area, so that's like a zone 4, maybe a zone 5, depending on where you are. And I think I've heard that they're hardy to zone 3. So we'll see if that's true, but I'm trying to find a good draining dry area of my yard, and I think that this is a good spot. Alright, and then this is an annual salvia. I'm not sure what type that is again, but I thought that the flowers were really, really pretty. Hopefully it will find some hummingbirds. And this is a peony that I got from my aunt. It's growing nicely. It's not going to be its forever home, but I'm going to leave it here for a couple of years and get it acclimated to just me. And I got a little bit of dieback last year when I planted it. It started to grow beautifully, and then a bunch of them just started to die back. So I don't want to stress it out too much. I might even leave it there next year and then transplant it the following year. Let it get a little bit of a root hold. And I really like this hens and chicks. This one reminds me of Echeveria Lola. In the summertime, it gets to be more of a gray-white texture or color with kind of that fuzzy texture. So I'm super excited about seeing that one grow. I'm a little worried over here. I have lily of the valley. It's a variegated lily of the valley. I've shown it to you before. As you'll see, the variegation is getting weaker in the newer growth, and I'm noticing that there's a lot of babies starting to grow around it. So that's getting me a little bit worried. Generally, the variegated one is a slower grower. So this one's starting to pick up steam, and losing its variegation. So I might actually end up ripping it out. Yeah, I don't want to. I really like the variegated variety, but what I might do is cut the bottom out of a 5-gallon pail if I have a broken one, and use that to contain it. Dig the whole 5-gallon pail in, minus the bottom, so that the water drains through. But it will contain the runner roots, all the rhizomes, so it will stay in one clump. I just don't want them to grow everywhere. What do we see here? We have some gentian that's growing here. Gentian, as some people might say. Gentian, yeah. And there's another variety here. Sorry for the fast movements of the camera. Oh, and some geranium. Some little crane's bill. They're really, really pretty. I think I had a photo on Instagram of the flowers on this when they first started coming out. Oh, and a little balloon flower. I want to get the tall variety balloon flower, but in my area, for whatever reason, at the moment, I can only get the short one. So either way, the flowers are the same size. They're really, really cute, cool. I love how they come out looking like a balloon and then they open up. Very appropriately named. This one is a blue variety. Over here, the Japanese maple. This one we thought was going to be a slower grower, and it has grown like crazy. Not complaining at all. But we thought because of the size of it and the price of it, it was a slow grower. It was a tiny plant, and it was $30, I think $29.99, and it is growing like crazy. I think we planted it now 2 years in the ground. Last year was the first full year, and it's amazing. I love the little fine leaves. I'm going to be chopping off some branches down at the bottom to make it more of a standard kind of look. But yeah, right now I'm just letting it do its thing, and I'm very, very pleased. Like, look at this. This new growth is almost 12 inches long. That's huge. For a Japanese maple, that's incredible. This is the bastard balm. I'm trying to cut it back a little bit to make it a little bit more contained. I bought a spirea. I really wanted a spirea in the garden because I like to trim them. Spireas actually do really, really well with hard pruning. Trim them down to like 10 or 12 inches in the fall, or in the spring, whatever is easier for you. Spring is probably better. You get a lot of dieback with Spirea, and it just comes back like crazy, and a beautiful, beautiful maintained clump. Japanese forest grass I've transplanted. I have 3 clumps rather than just the one. I just wanted to fill in underneath the Japanese maple very, very quickly. I found this campanula at the garden center yesterday, and I loved how it wasn't a bell-shaped. I loved how it was open, and I asked if that was the way that this is supposed to grow, and the lady at the store says, yes, that's how it's supposed to grow, because I've only ever seen them like a bell. So I hope that it is right. I hope that this is what it looks like. I absolutely love this. And if it's an anomaly and the rest of them come out as bells, that's okay too. Again, these flower pretty well till frost, so they're always a rewarding plant to grow. Back behind, you might wonder, that is a gazania, an annual. They flower in the daytime and close up at nighttime, so if it's a cloudy day, you're probably not going to see any flowers. They're finally starting to grow. I've got buds starting on a bunch, but they haven't really started to bloom. They haven't opened. I've had a couple here and there, but for the most part, not really a shower yet. The allium, what is that one? That's the Ivory Queen, is looking really, really pretty. Even the seed head is pretty. I love the leaves. I need to get more alliums with the robust leaf like that. Every time I see them when I'm out and about, I have to have them. And the little boxwood and the little gnome here, just doing his thing, working in the garden. Oh, and this is a little catmint that I like this one. It stays more contained, but unlike the other one, it didn't come back as forceful. It's just a little bit of growth. Hopefully it survives. And I've got all kinds of seed heads on my my Tulip Atarta, the species tulip. So I'm going to let them do their thing. And hopefully we get all kinds of little baby tulips for next year. They just look like grass, so you really need to watch when you weed. It's kind of terrible. This here, I might post a photo of this hibiscus. This hibiscus I found at Home Depot the other day, and I posted an Instagram photo, and it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I've never seen one of those in the $6 section before. They came in the small little 4-inch pots. Usually they have basic colors, but not the unique fun ones. So this one was amazing. Hopefully it likes it. I just wanted to have a little statement pot on the front porch. And then we've got here the containers. I just did whatever I felt like this year. There's no rhyme or reason. I just wanted to see how things would grow. This is the lotus vine. I've never grown a lotus vine, and I had no idea what a lotus vine was until this year. And supposedly it flowers, but I really like the leaves. It reminds me of a larch leaf. And I love weeping larch. So if I can't have a weeping larch this year, I will, for goodness sake, have a lotus vine. But I have some verbena. They're starting to grow. A type of petunia. That's the lotus vine. I forget what variety of petunia this is. It's not a million bells. It's like a super tunia or something of that nature. I think that these ones are self-cleaning, so you usually don't need to prune these ones like in some of my other videos. I've pruned them like crazy, but you do have to do a little bit of maintenance, because if you don't prune a little bit, the central point will die out. So you give them a little bit of trim once a month, and it keeps the center nice and full. Over on this side I have the Calibrachoas, the million bells petunias. They have yet to start reblooming. I cut off all the flowers when I planted it, just to get a nice compact growth. And as you can see, the growth is very, very strong, but now we just need to add the flowers to the mix. And then this is what kind of alocasia is this? Regal Shields. It's not as dark as it usually is. They're just not happy this season. Alocasias. I need to find the perfect place for this guy. I might plant it in a bigger pot this season. This is the Trachycarpus fortunae, the fan palm that's hardy to my zone. Just needs some winter protection from wind, more so than from freezing. It can deal with the cold. It can't deal with the winds. It'll burn the leaves off. So we'll give it a little bit of protection. If it doesn't find its way into the ground this year, I will bring it into the garage and just have it there surviving for the winter. These are rain lilies. They just don't do very much. I might just toss that pot because that's what it looks like for most of the season. Occasionally I'll get a pink flower. Oh my. Some more alocasias. This is some more of the ice cream banana. I divided it because I wanted to do a different type of overwintering. So I wanted to make sure that I had a clump that was not part of the other stuff, so that if it dies, the whole group's not going to die. I'm going to try bare rooting it this year. Got some creeping Jenny in this one. I've got a few different varieties of hibiscus. The tropical hibiscus. This one has a tiny little flower, and then this one, I love this flower. This used to be my favorite, but then I got that red one, and it's even more stunning. And then a bunch of different varieties of petunias. I think this petunia is really, really pretty. This is a really gross one, but it's very, very nice. The pinks with the purples. And this is a nice little colocasia. This one did really, really well last year. It got really tall, and the leaves got quite large. So I overwintered this one in the garage, and it's finally starting to come into its own, starting to grow. It's doing actually quite well. And then this basket's actually doing better than the other basket. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. This plectranthus is doing really, really good. It's nice and full. I actually had to prune it back a little bit. This petunia is doing really, really nice. The verbena's looking good. And this one, the million bells, is starting to get flowers. So this is what the million bells on the other side is going to look like. I'll have to water these today, but all in all, looking really, really good. The other day we got our driveway painted, so it's nice and black, which looks really, really nice against our concrete. And let's go around to the side and look at the hostas in the hosta garden. So off to this side we've got our little hosta garden. Right here there was the Jack in the Pulpit, the cobra lily. It has died down. Hopefully it's not dead. Hopefully it's just gone dormant, which is normal for them. But all kinds of hostas. I'm not going to go through each variety. Yesterday I came out and I planted the coleus that I had down under the grow lights. One of the coleus was absolutely full of mealybugs, so it was doing its job. They were there for lure plants to bring the mealybugs, because I've had a problem. They really prefer coleus, and coleus are really quick and easy to grow. So you use those in amongst your more prized plants, and they are used as bait. And then when they go and take the bait and they leave the other plants, you toss them. You toss those plants out and start with a new coleus. And they grow easy from cuttings, so you can make lots. These are my drink collection. Well, these two, whiskey sour and then appletini. Appletini is by far my favorite. Whiskey sour is a little bit weak for my liking. This one has a nice firm leaf compared to this one. Actually, the leaves feel better, or feel very similar, but they just don't look. This one looks more floppy. This one looks more like it's supposed to be that way. I have a little hellebore off to the side. I had 3, but for whatever reason the wind has whipped them and broken them, and so this is the only one that's surviving. And some more coleus. These ones I started from seed in the grow room. And these guys here, I believe, are self-seeded. Excuse me, not self-seeded, but I grew them from seed. I collected the seed and from my own plants, and these are babies. They're probably a mixture of appletini and this one over here, I assume, which would make sense. I think they were side by side, the appletini and that guy that doesn't have a name. Oh, we also have soil for here. This is filled with soil, so we're soon going to be planting this up. We got to work with the neighbor to try to figure out what we're going to put here. Right now, it might be some oak trees, some columnar oaks, but I'm also thinking maybe we'll do some PG hydrangeas as the main plant going down the center, and then we'll do our own thing on either side. But keep it a little bit uniformed. But it's a long garden. It's about 34 feet long and probably about 5.5 feet wide. So it's going to contain a lot of plants. So that'll be a nice one, hopefully. Well, that was a long-winded update. If you stayed in it through the whole thing, wow, I'm amazed. hopefully you enjoyed it. There will be more stuff happening in the garden. I'll do some more update videos. If there's anything you'd like to see, let me know down below. Keep in mind that the bamboo is dead. I get a lot of people asking for updates on the bamboo, but I know that I need to do a little bit of an update on the aloe vera that's growing upstairs. Really nothing has changed. It's still doing the same thing. It's not getting high light, so it's not doing very much, but I'll show you what it looks like. I'm thinking about maybe bringing it outside for the summertime, but I don't know. So anyway, share what you're growing. I'd love to see what your garden looks like. Post photos to the Plants and Things What's Growing page, and yeah, just show me what's happening. I'd love to see it. Anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing.